We will be speaking with Maya about animal abuse and how this is used to intimidate and control victim survivors. The content of this video includes distressing and upsetting descriptions of abuse, so viewer discretion is advised.
We know that there is significant overlap between people and animals being subjected to domestic abuse and coercive controlling behaviour. An estimated 2.1 million people aged 16 and over in England and Wales are subjected to some form of domestic abuse annually. 60% of UK households also have a pet, often more than one species. This means that there will be significant crossover between people and pets being subjected to domestic abuse. In fact, 97% of domestic abuse professionals are aware of cases where threats to harm pets are used as a tactic of coercive controlling behaviour. We also know that animal abuse occurs in 88% of cases where physical abuse of children has been reported. Under the Domestic Abuse Act 2021 statutory guidance, children are now seen as victims in their own right if they are living in households subjected to domestic abuse, even if they are not the direct target. I believe we should extend this to acknowledge that animals with the same cognitive and emotional capabilities as a toddler are also impacted by living in domestically abusive households. Perpetrators of coercive control use animals in a variety of ways as a tactic of their abuse. They may threaten to use or use violence against the companion animal. There have been reported instances of animals being forced to ingest drugs or alcohol. They may be forced to fight other animals, or they may kill the animal or force the adult or child survivor to kill the pet. 51% of domestic abuse professionals who were surveyed said they'd heard of cases where the animal had been killed. They may threaten to call the RSPCA and report the non-abusive caregiver for animal neglect or cruelty. This is very similar to when they threaten to call social services and report child abuse. They may threaten to harm the animal. They may salary home or abandon the animal or threaten to do so. They may gift the animal. Research has shown that gifted animals are more likely to be abused. They may prevent companionship between the non-abusive caregiver and the animal, and they may claim ownership or use small claims court, similar to the weaponisation of family court post-separation, where children are involved. The Domestic Abuse Act 2021 also formally recognised that controlling a person's financial situation, which impacts their ability to care for a pet, for example, by not allowing them to buy food or by limiting access to vet care, constitutes economic abuse. On top of this, 60% of domestic abuse sector specialists were aware of cases where pets or a caregiver's ability to care for a pet had been impacted by financial abuse. We also know that animals can feature in stalking behaviours, which we know is a high-risk behaviour which is present in up to 94% of domestic homicides. What this can look like when animals are involved is monitoring how long the person is out with their pet. So, for example, they may time vet visits, or they might time dog walks or horse riding lessons, etc. They may use spyware or GPS trackers on the pet's collar or harness, for example. They may stake out common dog walking routes or vet clinics. And they may lie to microchip companies or vets to find out a new address or location if the family has fled the abuse. What this means is we need to understand and consider how risk between the two issues of animal abuse, neglect, cruelty, and domestic abuse, coercive control and behaviour intersect in order to provide a holistic kind of response to domestic abuse. So a history of pet abuse was found to be one of the 4 most significant risk factors of one's becoming a domestic abuse perpetrator. And perpetrators of domestic abuse who have been cruel to animals have been found to be more controlling, dangerous, and violent, utilising a wider range of abusive techniques than domestic abuse perpetrators who do not abuse animals. For example, 76% of domestic abuse survivors whose partners had histories of pet abuse had been subjected to non-fatal strangulation, which we know is a high-risk indicator for serious further harm and domestic homicide. Having a companion animal is also a barrier to leaving for survivors. With safe, pet-friendly accommodation far and few between, it can be difficult for them to seek a safe place to flee. A survey carried out by Dogs Trust in 2019 showed that 95% of domestic abuse professionals said that survivors will not leave their home without knowing that their pet would be safe. This was backed up by a 2018 piece of research which found that when perpetrators of intimate partner abuse also had a history of animal abuse, survivors waited until after 30 to 50 violent incidents before feeling able to contact police. This is compared to an average of 7 violent instances for perpetrators who did not also abuse animals. So professionals proclaim that the best practice response to domestic abuse uses a whole family approach. However, presently pets are not considered within that approach. Pet details are not routinely recorded at intake by statutory or voluntary professionals, nor included effectively or consistently within safety planning, highlighting that they are not routinely seen as worthy of protection. What we need to remember is where there is abuse of people and animals are present, there will be abuse of animals. And where there is abuse of animals, there will be abuse of people. So a whole family, a multi-agency, and a coordinated community response to preventing and addressing domestic abuse must include the companion animal and the pet. So what I would like people to do is, when they're responding to domestic abuse, is to pause, to take a second, pause, and think pause, so PAWS. I want them to think P is everyone's responsibility to prevent further abuse from taking place and to take action to protect humans and animals. A, be aware of the indicators and dynamics of domestic and sexual violence towards humans and animals, and be aware of the protection and safeguarding legislation. W, a whole family and whole systems approach must include the companion animal. And S, know the specialist services and organisations to signpost and refer into. So we don't say curiosity killed the cat. We say curiosity saved the cat and dog and human. What we want is for professionals to be professionally curious and to ask about animals, record animals, and include animals within their response.